the world of JRPGs, Amnesia is far more than a plot convenience. It's often a mask, a psychological shield, and a metaphorical bandage over a deeper, terrifying wound. From forgotten pasts to hidden identities, many JRPG protagonists begin their journey in a fog of forgetfulness. But what lies beneath that haze is rarely just a simple memory lapse. More often, it conceals an unbearable truth, a violent history, a destructive choice, or a painful identity. In these stories, Amnesia becomes a way for characters, and by extension the player, to delay confronting something too heavy to face all at once. Through this lens, the trope isn't just about rediscovery. It's about protection. It's about survival. Amnesia and JRPGs often act as a kind of self-imposed exile from the truth. Consider protagonists like Fei Wong from Xenogears or Sora from Kingdom Hearts. Their memory loss is not arbitrary. It's often tied to trauma so great that the mind blocks it out in order to function. In Xenogears, Fei's fragmented memories protect him from a past that includes intense emotional suffering and unspeakable violence. Rather than face this all at once, the game slowly peels back the layers of his identity, almost like a psychological horror story disguised as a mega-epic. The more Fei remembers, the more the player realizes that forgetting wasn't weakness. It was survival. This aligns with real-world psychology. Dissociative amnesia is a genuine condition where the brain suppresses traumatic memories as a defense mechanism. JRPGs frequently reflect this concept in symbolic ways. The character isn't weak because they forgot. They forgot because remembering would destroy them, at least initially. It's only once they're strong enough, emotionally or physically, that the truth can be revealed. This gradual unveiling makes for compelling narrative pacing while also respecting the emotional weight of trauma. One of the most unsettling uses of the amnesia trope in JRPGs is when the forgotten truth reveals that the hero isn't just a victim, but may also be complicit in the world's suffering. A powerful example of this is Alphen, the protagonist of Tales of Arise. When we first meet him, he's a slave with no memory, no sense of touch or pain, and no clear identity. In a classic JRPG setup, Alphen's amnesia paints him as a blank slate, a sympathetic figure who rises up to fight oppression. But as the story unfolds, his forgotten past becomes a source of dread rather than comfort. The truth is that Alphen was once known as the Lord of Calaglia, a person directly involved in violent events that fueled the suffering he now fights against. While he was manipulated and not entirely in control of his actions, this revelation shatters the clear-cut narrative of heroism. The person he is now would never commit such atrocities, but the person he was did. And that contradiction lies at the heart of what makes this trope so emotionally charged. Alphen's journey is not just about defeating external enemies, it's about accepting his past without letting it define his future. His amnesia initially acts as a psychological barrier, sparing him the unbearable guilt of what he once was. But like many JRPG heroes, he must eventually confront the truth, not to be destroyed by it, but to grow beyond it. Tales of Arise uses this twist to emphasize that true heroism isn't about having a flawless past, but about making conscious choices to do better in the present. While Alphen's amnesia hides a personal past steeped in violence and guilt, Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles presents a different spin on the theme, one where the character retains his memories but slowly realizes that his understanding of the world and himself has been manipulated all along. Shulk begins his journey driven by revenge and guided by the mysterious Monado, a weapon that grants him visions of the future. Unlike Alphen, he believes he knows who he is and what he's fighting for. But as the narrative unfolds, Shulk discovers that he was not just a pawn in a divine game, but was created by one of the very gods he seeks to overthrow. In contrast to Alphen's forgotten past, Shulk's truth is hidden not in memory, but in origin, a truth that redefines his sense of autonomy, purpose, and even existence. Yet like Alphen, Shulk doesn't collapse under the weight of these revelations. He wrestles with the implications and ultimately forges his own path, choosing human freedom over divine control. Together, Alfin and Shulk demonstrate how JRPGs use memory and truth not just as plot twists, but as a reflection of inner conflict. Whether it's what you've forgotten or what you were never told in the first place, the scariest truths in these games aren't just about the world, they're about the self. Ultimately, JRPGs use Amnesia to structure a journey from denial to acceptance. It's no accident that many JRPG protagonists start out hopeful and idealistic, only to later confront harsh, often tragic truths. Man, that sounds a lot like adulthood. Nier Replicant's protagonist begins with a clear, heroic goal: save his sister. But the truths uncovered over the course of the game, especially in the later endings, reveal that the heroic quest is built on moral compromise, and the player's own assumptions are slowly dismantled. The forgetfulness isn't just about the character, it's about how we, as players, want to believe in good versus evil, and easier answers. Amnesia becomes a mirror to our own discomfort with ambiguity and moral grayness. In many ways, these games argue that truth isn't something you start with, it's something you earn. And sometimes, the most important truths about who we are lie buried deep because we are not ready to face them. JRPGs that employ the amnesia trope aren't shying away from complexity. They're asking us to walk slowly toward it, giving both character and player space to build the strength to accept what lies underneath. The amnesia trope in JRPGs is more than a mystery to be solved. It's a metaphor for how people survive trauma and guilt. By hiding the truth until the moment of emotional readiness, these stories allow their characters and their players to reckon with darkness without being destroyed by it. Memory loss, then, isn't a narrative cheat. It's a deeply human act of preservation. And in remembering, the characters don't just find out what happened. They figure out who they really are and who they want to be going forward. In the end, JRPGs remind us that sometimes forgetting is the first step to healing, and remembering is the bravest act of all.